Hi, from eTherapy. We are here to talk about how you can create a positive and effective learning environment in the online setting. We will show you what an engaging teletherapy or online learning experience can look like and tips for supporting students, school staff, administrators, and parents in the online learning process, including positive behavioral supports, how to reduce student anxiety, and mental health support for parents and educators. eTherapy has been providing online special ed related services via teletherapy to schools across the nation for well over a decade. Our team of teletherapy experts has a wealth of experience, and we are happy to share what we have learned about best practices for online learning with others through professional development opportunities such as this. But in a sea of information and materials, what makes professional development engaging? How can we ensure that the information we are presenting to school staff or parents is being received and internalized? Well, we have had many opportunities to present nationally on best practices for teletherapy, and we have learned some of the key components to making professional development stick. And that is know your audience. Put yourself in the shoes of your audience and tailor your information to what they really need to know. Make it accessible. Don't use a lot of jargon or acronyms that the participants might not understand. If the presentation starts to go over their head, they will tune out. Show real examples. Make sure your materials are meaningful to your audience and engaging by showing videos or other real world examples to help the participant visualize the concepts you're reviewing. And lastly, be sure to provide practical takeaways, something they can start using right away. Everyone is so busy and overwhelmed, so when we take time to participate in professional development, we want to make sure we leave the presentation with something real, a new online learning tool, or digital concept, or strategy for behavior management. Something that the participant can scoop up and start applying in their daily life right away. Now, let's get to our topic today on creating a positive and effective online learning environment and how teletherapy really works. So, what should you expect from online special ed related services, and how can we make it all work well for our students? Online sessions can be very dynamic and engaging for students. The therapist or teacher can share items on the screen and allow the student to use their keyboard and mouse to directly interact with the activities. So the student and the therapist can play interactive games and engage directly in activities on the screen. The therapist and the student share their webcams so that they can see each other clearly, and the therapist or teacher can talk with the student or provide modeling for the student as needed. We can use tools during the session, such as on screen drawing or annotation tools, so that the student can complete worksheets or typing activities. The therapist can really use a wide variety of materials, including online reading materials, whiteboards, game boards, videos, interactive green screen activities, and more. The sessions may involve manipulatives or movement activities. Online sessions do not all look the same because all students are different and have such varied needs. Sometimes it might look like hard work with repetitive practice and drills. Other times it might just look like play because the therapist has embedded practice into a game or fun activity. So, how can parents support students in this process? The main thing is to be available when possible. Some students need a higher level of support for logging into their sessions and maintaining focus, while some are more independent. And eTherapy has worked to ensure that the login process for our platform is as easy and user friendly as possible. We know that parents and school staff are busy and juggling so many different responsibilities. So, with eTherapy, you don't have to manage several links or URLs. Students just go to our website at electronic therapy.com and select My Therapy. There's no need to remember various passwords because all you do is input the student's initials and date of birth. This allows the student or family to access a private student portal where you can enter your online session with one click, and that's it. And here the experience is private and secure. The student never has to go to an outside video conferencing platform, so everything is confidential and HIPAA compliant, and most of all, simple for students and families to use. You can also click here to check out your upcoming sessions or view past sessions and progress made toward goals. Again, this is a private student portal that is only accessible to the student and parent or a school staff member if they are helping the student to log in. It offers a really secure and user-friendly experience. So many students do become quite independent in accessing eTherapy's platform. But a note for parents here. Remember that even if your student is independent in logging in for their sessions, parents are a very important part of the online learning and online therapy process. You can work with the teacher or therapist to determine what level of support makes the most sense for your student and for your family dynamic. Depending on your particular student's needs, your therapist might ask you to be the hands on help needed to complete certain activities. You can also talk and consult with your therapist, and they can provide you with recommendations and guidance on how you can help your student continue their progress toward their IEP goals outside of the online sessions. If your student is engaged in online learning all day, that can be a lot of staring at a screen and a lot of sitting. So be sure to offer plenty of movement breaks. We know parents and administrators are under a lot of pressure to keep students on track and following their schedule, which is important. But students need opportunities to move around or to have a change of pace. This may mean that your therapist includes movement activities into the session, or that they just have a moment to get their wiggles out, such as this. Let's take a look at a quick clip. If you hear rhyming words, you get to jump up and down for 3 seconds. You ready? Listen. See if these rhyme. Tune, spoon. Do they rhyme? So what do? Jump up and down. 3, 2, 1. Stop. Okay, how about this? You may also want to think about alternative seating. Try letting them sit on an exercise ball so that they can move a bit while they sit at a desk or table. Or try setting up a laptop on a counter and let your students stand to work at the computer instead of sitting. It can also be beneficial for some students to use a fidget item. This can be something small that they can hold in their hands or fidget with while they attend their online sessions. The therapist and parent or teacher can also use motivational tools and online positive behavior supports to help students engage and participate effectively in the learning environment. For example, we can display behavior worksheets and guides on the screen and use built-in video conferencing tools to make the activity more interactive. Most video conferencing systems have on-screen annotation or writing tools, so the therapist and the student can even type or draw directly on the screen. You can also incorporate other types of visuals to support your student when working online. You can display visual prompts or schedules on the screen. If the student needs real pictures as a prompt, then the teacher or parent can email real pictures to you that you can then incorporate on the screen. Or you can use basic icons for visual supports. Here I've used a free online whiteboard to create a simple visual schedule for my student. Then I can use the whiteboard or on-screen drawing tools to check off as we complete our items. We can also use online positive behavior charts or digital reward systems to reinforce positive behaviors. There are many free online behavior charts on the internet. You can just do a quick Google search to find one that works for you and your student. Here's an example from the site starchart.me, where you can quickly and easily enter a really basic but effective behavior chart where your student can work toward earning a goal or a reward, and they can see their progress right there on the screen. Teachers and therapists working with students online can offer various types of rewards. It may be some tangible item that you work with the parent to provide to the student at home, or you can also offer digital or online rewards and motivations. It could be a set amount of time to play a motivating online game. Or you could even allow the student to show off a silly face filter of their choice that is school appropriate during the online session. If your student needs visual supports to help them focus or to transition from one task to another, then you might also incorporate an on screen timer. This is one example from online-stopwatch.com. You can display the timer on the screen and set it for whatever time you need. And it gives a really clear visual for the student. So maybe the student needs to keep working on a particular task for 10 more minutes. You could set the timer to count down until they are done with that work task. Or maybe if the student is on a break and might have difficulty transitioning back into work time, then you can set the timer for how much longer they have for their break. You can incorporate online games or videos. Here's an example for younger students for helping them to understand appropriate or expected behaviors. This is a video from Wonder Grove Kids, and we can take a look at a quick clip here.
That was a good book. You read that super fast. That's because I'm sitting in the lucky red chair. Good thing I have another book at my desk. I'll be right back. Hey, Maria, you're in my chair. I need you to move.
It's not your chair, it's a classroom chair.
But I wasn't done with it. I just got up to get another book.
We have to take turns, Chris.
That's not fair. It's still my turn.
I wasn't done.
No, get out of my chair. I just got up to get another book.
Chris? Maria? What's going on?
Miss Flowers, Maria won't get out of my chair.
Chris, why don't you sit in the yellow or blue chair?
I don't want to sit in those.
When you came back and saw Maria was in the red chair, did you ask her politely if you could have it back?
No, I told her she was in my chair and she had to get out.
Oh, you were being impulsive. Chris, the chairs belong to us all. We have to learn how to take turns and share them. And that means
That was just a quick clip, but it gives you the idea of how you can use many different types of activities and digital materials to provide positive behavior supports in the virtual setting. We want to create learning environments that are conducive to learning and the student's individual needs. So, part of this is thinking about how to structure the online sessions. It may mean that the therapist saves a preferred activity until the end of the session so that the student can work toward that fun activity. Or maybe the student needs a really engaging activity right at the beginning to get them interested and participating in the online learning task. Or it might mean going back and forth between work activities and play throughout the session when possible. Again, it's not a one size fits all model. So observe your student and talk with your online teacher or therapist to collaborate and find what helps your student to attend best. Keeping those open lines of communication is really key in successful online learning and online special ed related services. When working remotely, we don't see teachers and parents or administrators in the hallway. We can't just pop by someone's physical office or room to ask a question. So it can be easy to feel isolated or like you're doing this alone. So please do reach out because you are not alone in this. If you have technical difficulties in accessing the online sessions, you don't have to try to figure it out all by yourself. Just pick up the phone and call. At eTherapy, our therapists and staff are happy to help with troubleshooting to make sure the student is able to access their online sessions quickly and easily. So, if you run into any glitches or issues, don't be afraid to give your therapist a call right away to get it worked out. We are all part of the IEP team together, and that means collaborating to help our students succeed. Parents, teachers, administrators, and therapists all have different insights into how the student is performing. And it's really important to put all of those pieces together so that we can help the student reach their goals. So, if your student is receiving online special ed related services, be sure to keep those open lines of communication with your therapist. That might be a speech therapist, OT, PT, counselor, or behavior specialist, or it might be a combination of folks on the team. And parents are the ones with the student on a daily basis, so parental help and input is vital. If students only work on their IEP goals during their specific online session times, then progress may be limited. But if a caregiver or teacher helps to implement some of the therapy strategies and techniques in daily routines with the student, then that is where the real progress can happen. So, talk with your therapist and ask questions if you need more help in understanding how you can help to carry over the skills that they're working on in therapy. And be sure to keep the IEP team in the loop on changes that may occur if you see a new concerning behavior in your student or if you see progress with a certain skill. Let the team and your therapist know so that everyone is on the same page because we all have the same ultimate goal of helping the student to be as successful as possible. And we also know that many students are feeling a lot of pressure and anxiety about changes going on around them or uncertainty about what is going to happen next. And this stress can bubble to the surface in the form of frustration at times. So, there are some great online resources we can utilize to help them de escalate and get back on track. There are many useful websites out there that offer free recommendations and resources. TherapistAid.com has a bank of free guides and worksheets for therapists, parents, and students to learn about coping skills and positive ways to handle feelings of frustration. You can also practice breathing techniques as a calming strategy, such as this smell the pizza breathing activity from Cheese School. You can lead the student in taking a moment to pretend to smell the flowers or the pizza, breathing in through their nose, then blowing on the pizza to cool it, breathing out through their mouth. Grounding techniques can also be a great way to help kids and adults refocus and practice self calming. The 5-4-3-2-1 grounding technique, as seen here on the site Coping Skills for Kids, can really be useful as you talk the student through focusing on 5 things they can see, 4 things they can feel, 3 things they can hear, 2 things they can smell, and 1 thing they can taste. This can really help the student to refocus and get grounded in the moment. Videos are another great way to help students handle frustration and anxiety. There are many great videos out there. One example is Go Zen, which has a YouTube channel focused on mindfulness meditations for kids. Remember that if you're using YouTube with your students, it's important to share the videos safely, such as through a site like this, where you can paste in the video URL. This allows you to play the video on a page without the distractions or potentially inappropriate content that may appear on a site like YouTube. So, Go Zen is one example. They have some great calming exercises and breathing techniques that are presented in a way that students can understand. Here's one example. It's a mindful minute breathing exercise. So the girl is feeling overwhelmed with all the activity and sound going on around her. Then it shows how simply taking some deep breaths can help to alleviate that anxiety in the moment. Zen Den is another YouTube channel that provides mindfulness activities that you can use with younger kiddos to help them maintain focus and calm. And here's an example of a Zen Den video.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Cosmic Kids Zen Den, your place to feel calm and relaxed and to help our minds stay healthy and happy. First, let's get comfy. Sitting on our bottoms with our legs crossed, we bring our hands to our knees and take a big deep breath. Now, let's get the Zen Den ready so we can really enjoy it. Let's have some sounds. Oh, yes! Lots of great sounds to choose from. Let's pick a couple that help us feel relaxed. Look! Bubbles! Aha! A good way to think about thoughts is with bubbles. Let's imagine these bubbles are our thoughts. They pop up in your brain. And sometimes there can be quite a few, all at once. Some of them are idea-like. I know, let's bake.
That's just one example, but it shows you how you might help really young students to understand some of these concepts. The site actmindfully.com also has some great resources. They have a bank of free items, including some worksheets and videos that can work well for older students. Let's take a look at one example here.
It often seems like we've got a struggle switch at the back of our mind. And as soon as an uncomfortable emotion, a painful feeling, or memory shows up, it's like the struggle switch goes on and we start to struggle with it. So let's suppose anxiety shows up. Very common, painful emotion that we all get to experience. Anxiety shows up, the struggle switch goes on. Oh, here's anxiety. I don't like anxiety. I want to get rid of my anxiety. Now I've got anxiety about my anxiety. So it's getting bigger. With the struggle switch on, I now get, oh, my anxiety is getting bigger. How do I get rid of my anxiety? Now I've got even more anxiety. With the struggle switch on, I may then get angry about my anxiety. Why does this anxiety keep showing up? I hate this anxiety. Then I might even start to feel sad about my anger. Oh, is this my life? Oh, and then I may start to feel guilty about my sadness about my anger. Oh, how pathetic am I when there's starving kids in Africa? So with my struggle switch on, my emotions get amplified. I've now got guilt about my sadness, about my anger, about my anxiety, about my anxiety. And that kind of amplification of emotions gives them more impact and influence over my life and often gets me bogged down or pulls me into self-defeating behaviors. Now, what happens if I can switch off the struggle switch? With the struggle switch off, anxiety shows up, and it's not that I like it or want it or approve of it, it's just I'm not going to struggle with it. I'm not going to invest my time, energy, and effort in struggling with this anxiety. Instead, I'm going to invest it in doing meaningful, life-enhancing activities, such as...
Again, those are just a few examples, but it gives you the idea of some of the calming and mindfulness activities and videos that are out there and that are appropriate for a wide age range. There are also many apps available that can help students handle anxiety. You can do a search on the App Store for free or low-cost options that you may want to use with your student, such as this example called Mood Balance. Older students, like high schoolers, could download mindfulness or calming apps on their own phone if that works best. This mood balance example even has a bubble wrap calming activity where you pop the bubble wrap right there on the screen, which can actually be quite therapeutic. And lastly, don't forget about taking care of yourself. If you, as the adult, are totally stressed out and frustrated, then you won't be able to support your student in the way that you want to. There are some really simple things you can incorporate into your day that can significantly improve your mood and decrease your anxiety. Gratitude is a big one for mental health. Research shows that if you just take a quick moment to jot down 3 things you're thankful for, it will significantly improve your happiness level and decrease stress. Even in super challenging times, we can often find things that we are grateful for. And just the simple act of recognizing that and taking a quick moment to write it down can really help. Also, breathing. It's not just for the students. Adults need to take that time to take deep, calming breaths to help us get refocused. And just as it is important to give our students those movement breaks, we as adults need that too. So remind yourself to get up and move around and stretch, or better yet, go for a walk outside if possible. Take your child with you if you can to get that change of pace and chance to connect. It's also so important to celebrate our successes. Those may be big successes. Maybe your child achieved a goal that they've been working toward in their OT sessions for a long time. Or maybe it's a small goal that they reach along the way. Maybe they were able to complete their assignment without having a meltdown that day, and that is a success for them. Or maybe it's a success for the parent or educator. Maybe the parent was able to successfully navigate the online learning platform, and that was a success for them. As we're so focused on getting our students to follow their rules and do their work, we just want to also remember to celebrate the positive moments, big and small, along the way. Thank you for your time, and as always, feel free to reach out to us at electronic-therapy.com if you or your school needs more support. eTherapy is here to help.